I want to get into this video today and I want to talk about how your face expressions can ruin your interactions with other people. And everyone's always talking about body language, they talk about your clothing style, and they talk about the environments that you meet people. But no one's actually talking about how you can come across more friendly, more approachable. And when I mean friendly and approachable, it's because you don't want it to be that you're always serious and it shows in your face. Because, for example, when I'm so serious, I realize it shows in my face, and that could be the same thing for other people. And sometimes it could even be your eyebrows, it could even be your face shape. But you have to realize as well that if you do everything you can to have clear skin, you do everything you can to make your face seem more symmetrical, you do everything you can where you at least work with what you got. So for example, to really come off more friendly, you should be like smiling to people that you're talking to. Because you have to realize if you're always saying things with a neutral face, you realize that when people are talking to you, they're always looking at your face, but you don't know how you come across to other people. You know, for example, when people have good energy, they're always smiling, you realize it makes you want to smile, even if you have like the worst day, even if you have a bad day. Because you have to realize a smile is something that people are choosing to do. And not everyone chooses to smile even though they can. And I wanted to say that when you do smile, you realize that you want to be around that person a lot more. They think more positively. And I wanted to say as well that when it comes to really your face, you need to realize that taking care of your hair, taking care of your facial hair, taking care of your eyebrows, making sure you don't have dry lips, and taking care of your makeup, because you have to realize that when you take photos, when you take videos, you want it to seem like it comes off natural. You don't want it to be that you're forcing yourself to smile, you're forcing yourself to make conversations with people. Other people can see through you if you're trying to force a smile, but then also you're trying to force a conversation. So that's very important, because you don't want to force a smile and you don't want to force a conversation, because at that point you don't want to be there and people are going to see that. So what I'm going to say, because I used to do this where I would force conversations, I'll force myself to smile, but when you actually do the things you love to do, a smile does come out more naturally. If you're around people that take care of themselves, you're going to naturally learn from them, and you're going to do everything you can to take care of yourself. You have to realize to have the best face expressions is by having practice. Because, for example, you need to see how your face is when it's relaxed. You need to see how your face is when it's more tense. Because, for example, when your face is more relaxed, you realize you're not just staring into the camera, you're not just staring at people. And when you're relaxed, you realize that the conversations that you have with people, it flows more naturally. And I'm not going to talk about too much body language, because this video is what you can do with your face expressions. When it comes to a relaxed face expression, you realize that your body language is more relaxed. When it comes to taking care of your face, you realize that whether it's in the morning, whether it's in the evening, if you actually take care of your face, you realize that you're more likely to be around other people, you're more likely to have conversations. And when it comes to really your face, you need to realize that if you do everything you can to have a lower body fat percentage, you do everything you can to have haircuts, making sure that your lips are not dry. Because when your lips are dry, you realize you're not going to smile, you're going to come off more nervous, you're not going to talk as much. And I wanted to say that when your lips are dry, you have to realize no one is going to want to at least be with you, to at least do more than be with you. But then also you have to realize that when it comes to you having good lips, you realize people are going to look at it more. And then also when you take care of your teeth and you're always smiling, you have a white smile, you realize people are going to ask you, how did you actually do that? When it comes to interacting with people, you have to realize that people are always going to look at your face. So by having clear skin, by taking care of your hair, because when it comes to clear skin, it's more about your diet, it's more about the environments that you put yourself in. If you're always outside doing things that you know you shouldn't be doing, you realize that your face, for example, is going to be more bloated, you realize that your face isn't going to be as clear. You're going to basically look dehydrated because you're not getting sleep, your food isn't digesting properly. You have to realize that sometimes when you're not really facing people, when you're not looking at people, you realize that they're not going to have a conversation with you. And this goes a long way because when you're having conversations with people, you want to give them eye contact, you want it to be that you're facing them. But then also you have to realize that when you're asking people questions, how enthusiastic are you? Because it will really show in your face and it will really show in your tone of voice. And you have to realize that you just need to wait your turn as well. Because good things that happen to other people, if you're happy that good things happen for them, it's more likely to happen for you as well. And I do understand that not everyone's going to be happy for you. Not everyone is going to want to be there for you. Even when things are bad, no one's going to really want to be there for you. But you have to realize that no matter what situation you may be in, you don't want to be like stressed out. Because when you're stressed out, it shows in your face. You stop taking care of your face. You do everything but take care of yourself. And that's what I'm going to say when you're so stressed. Because when you're stressed, you start to not get enough sleep. You start to get dark circles under your eyes. You don't drink as much water to really hydrate your face. And you need to realize as well, when you take care of yourself, it's going to show up on your face first before it shows on your body. And when I mean take care of yourself, so for example, you lose weight, it's going to show up on your face first before your body. When you focus on your diet, when you focus on your exercises that you're trying to do, you realize that you're going to come off more confident because you have clear skin, your face looks good. And the thing is, you know, when people take pictures and photos, sometimes people are using filters. People know that their face may not be good in the moment, but when people use filters, they're taking photos from different camera angles. Because when you do that, it's because you know you need to take care of your face, but you're not really doing that. I'm not spreading a negative message, because when you start to take care of your face, you're going to use filters less. And you realize when you do use filters, you're hiding certain features of your face. And when you do different camera angles, you realize that you're trying to show off the best features of your face. But then you realize that if you actually take care of your face and your body in general, you realize that you're going to come off more confident. And if people don't really like that, you realize that you can move on to someone else that will like that. When you look in the mirror, it may give you an opposite reflection when you actually look at yourself. So for example, you look at yourself in a mirror and it shows you the opposite side of your face, and it doesn't show you the side that you're trying to look on. When you're looking on the mirror, it could be a dirty mirror. It could be that you're looking in a mirror and depending on the mirror itself, whether it's big or small, it's going to zoom in or out of your face. So that's why when you are taking photos on your camera, you're taking videos on your phone, you realize that you're going to see how your face can really improve. And you need to start looking at your face objectively. Because what I've realized, that everyone has their own way of really eating. They have dietary requirements. Some people are allergic to certain foods, but some people really love food too much. So I'm going to say this because, for example, myself and other people, we may have healthy diets, but you have to realize that if the portion size is a lot and you're not tracking any of it, and your jawline isn't really going to look as sharp. And I wanted to say as well that this is very simple, but like chewing gum as well, it really helps with like your jawline. Doing everything you can to really exercise wherever you can, go on walks. Because for example, I didn't really like walks at first, but the more that I do it, and every time that I squeeze in a walk during my day-to-day routine, I realized that I enjoy the walk and I feel good afterwards. And that could be the same thing for you. I know that I said that that's all I got to say in the video, but you know how my hair's wet? It's because it's in the morning right now. And I just wanted to say this because have you noticed that when you're in the shower, you realize that your hair's wet, your face is wet, you have a good skincare routine, you realize that you have more confidence. Have you actually realized that? I have oily skin as well. Because that's really another thing of really taking care of your face. So because I have oily skin, I make sure that when I use moisturizers, I use a light moisturizer, and I use Neutrogena and I use CeraVe, and they are light moisturizers that I put on my face. And that's what I do for my day routine, and sometimes I do my night routine. I use light moisturizers such as CeraVe, Neutrogena. I don't really use bar soap because that really dries my face too fast. But then also I use a moisturizer, and I don't really use too much of it. Because for example, if you have a heavy moisturizer and you have oily skin, you realize you're going to be sweating more, the sweat is going to build up, and then you're more likely to break out on your face. But then also the products that you use in your hair as well, you don't want it to drip down on your face, especially on your forehead. But then also when it comes to people with oily skin such as myself, you want to make sure that if you have a heavy moisturizer, that you use less of it. Because when you use less moisturizer, you realize that the sun, it really reflects on your face, and you get vitamin D from the sun anyway. And as long as you're hydrated, that should be good. Because when you're hydrated, your skin's gonna have a glow. But then if you have a light moisturizer, you can use more of it. And you have to just try different products to see what works for you. And this will help you to interact with people in a much better way. So that's all I got to say. Thank you for watching, and this time I mean it. I'm gonna go because it's in the morning now, and I still have so much to do in my day. I mean, what are you thinking? Like, come on, like... Yeah, so this is me just like taking care of myself. It's in the morning right now, and you know when I told you to really take care of your face, that's really what I'm doing. So this is one thing that I do on a daily basis, whenever I can. Because the thing is, in the morning, you shouldn't be like in a rush. You need to start planning out your day so you have time to groom yourself. You have time to really take care of yourself. And I know I didn't say anything about clothing style in this video. I can always do that in another one. Don't feel the pressure to just like do everything all at once. But you have to make sure that you have a schedule in place, so that way you have time to do everything in your day, rather than rushing to do everything all at once.